Okay, she be going every single night. Day and night on my mind, pushing a cute vibe.
How's it going, everybody? This is Todd Padrapo. Hope you're having another great day, and welcome back to another video. So throughout the coronavirus pandemic, the option of working from home started to become a lot more popular. A lot more employees that have been working from the office decided to use this time to start working on all of their assignments from home, allowing them more flexibility to continue with their work obligations, while at the same time also being able to have more time to worry about other stuff from home, like having some time with some family, paying all the bills for the house, and all that other stuff. But with the restrictions from the pandemic now being lifted nationwide, a lot more employees are being asked to come back and work from the office again, while there have been some employees that would rather work from home rather than come back from the office. And it's really a hard decision to figure out exactly which one that you want to work at, whether at from home or at the office, especially if your employer, for say, decides that they would rather have employees at the office instead of giving the option to work from home. So this one, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the pros and cons of working from home compared to working from the office. What are some of the best advantages for each one of those, as well as some of the disadvantages. I'll tell you my opinion about which one I prefer, and let you decide exactly what you would do if you were in the situation, if you were working in an office job similar to the one that I work at. Now, before the coronavirus pandemic, working from the office was really more of a necessity at this point. It was really just, come to the office, work 8 hours a day, spend 1 hour for lunch, and then come home and then worry about everything else. That was really the norm during the time before the coronavirus pandemic. But there were some people that were working from home, well, mostly as freelancers at the time. But once the coronavirus pandemic, that option started to skyrocket with popularity. There are a lot of employees now that have utilized this option to work from home, and as a result, it has become a lot more popular. It's given them a lot more flexibility to be able to work on all of their stuff, as well as not really leave the house that often. At the same time, it allowed them more time to spend with their family as well. So rather than having to take the commute home, they were able to go straight downstairs and have dinner with their families and even have a little game night or two, something like that. And because of that, a lot more employers now are utilizing the option of making a particular job work from home, while some other positions they would have to work from the office. Or in some cases, like in my business, we would use like a hybrid schedule where you work at the office a couple of days and then the rest of the time you're at home. So really it is now starting to get both ways here. Some would rather prefer being at the office, while others would prefer being at home. So which one here really is the best option? Well, let's start by looking at some of the pros here. And for this one, I'm going to start out with working from home. Now, working from home, obviously, like I said, is becoming a lot more popular. It has its advantages, but it also has its downsides as well. And one of the advantages of working from home is that you have more freedom. Obviously, it gives you a lot more time to be able to manage, and also allows you to be able to work from home without all those particular distractions that will come from working at the office. Like whether it's working in the city and you have to deal with a lot of traffic that's outside as well, maybe a lot of chaos that's happening in the city as well. It allows you more time to spend away from all that, to be able to work from your home without all that noise that's going on outside. Not only that, it allows you more time to just focus on your work as well. And it allows you to just focus on everything that you're having to do, your assignments, your projects, or any of your meetings as well. If you have one-on-one meetings with any of your coworkers as well, it gives you a lot more time to focus now on your work without the fear of distractions that are happening all around you. So it's definitely a good positive to have if you are working from home. Another advantage of working from home is flexibility. As I mentioned before, you now have more time to do other things as well. Like if you were working at the office, you would have to commute there and back. So obviously you would have to spend time, at least an hour or so, getting to the office and back every single day. If you are working from home, you are immediately done as soon as it is 5 o'clock. As soon as it's done, you can just put the computer down and immediately go straight downstairs and allow you to be able to work with your family, allow them to make dinner, even just spend a little game night, and even to worry about some of the other things that are happening in the house as well, whether it's repairing your car or paying for your bills, as well as worrying about any of the other stuff that happens around your house. It also allows you more time to be able to do other things as well once the work shift is done. You're able to go out, spend some time with friends as well, maybe go to a fancy restaurant or two, enjoy some good cuisine, even go out to a concert as well, enjoy something like that or a sporting event, it gives you more freedom to be able to work out your schedule as well. So it's definitely something to keep in mind if you're going to work from home. It's a real good thing to be able to have that flexibility. Now, I mentioned family. Well, unfortunately, there is one disadvantage with working from home, and that's distractions. And sometimes, even though that there is a lot of distractions at the office, sometimes there are also distractions at home as well. Say that you're working from home, but you also have others that are living with you, like your husband who's also working from home, or even your children during the summer. There's a good possibility that there could be a lot of noise that's happening downstairs as well. And because of that, if you're having a meeting, if any of your fellow employers notice that, it could get a little bit awkward as well. So even though there are a lot less distractions that are happening at home compared to the office, you still aren't free from those distractions altogether. Not only that, you're also nearby your kitchen as well, along with many of your other appliances as well, like your TV or your phone and all of that stuff. So there's still a good possibility that even that small twitch could cause you to turn on the TV just to check on something while you're working, or even just spend some time on your social media, on your phone and all of that stuff. Distractions are everywhere, and that's still the case here in this particular environment. Another real disadvantage of working from home is that you miss out on a lot of the cool perks that are there at the office. Like, there's a lot of parties that can happen at the office as well, celebrating a colleague's birthday, or or going away, or even just a get-together or something like that. They will usually have a lot of food there just to celebrate that. Or not only that, the company could invite you to local events, like for example a concert or a sporting event, or maybe just a dinner or two or something like that. If you're a person that works from home all the time, you miss out on that as well. You miss the opportunity to get to go out and just spend some time with them as well. Now, I know this really go against that advantage that I mentioned when it comes to flexibility. Well, that's if you use it wisely, because if you don't, stuff like this is going to be bound to happen where you will end up missing out on getting to be a part of so many things that are happening at the office. And I know everybody has that fear of missing out, or as I say it, FOMO. Obviously, that's one thing that a lot of people don't want to have, and unfortunately, there's the potential that you could miss out on a lot of things if you're working from home compared to everyone else that is working at the office. So keep that in mind when you're deciding. That's a little bit about working from home. Now let's talk a little bit about working at the office. Now, obviously, like I said before, that was the norm back then before the coronavirus pandemic, and it'll partially mostly still be the norm now with restrictions now being lifted. Obviously, a lot more employees are now heading back to the office, getting to work from there, and that's something that I personally was doing quite a bit of before the recent restrictions that happened with the Omicron variant of the coronavirus. And there are still a good amount of advantages and disadvantages with this as well. One of the pros with having to work at the office is that you have more resources. Now, obviously, there are a lot more things that you can use to be able to successfully do your work. Like, for example, if you're working in TV production, you're able to utilize a lot more of the camera systems. You're able to use your video editing software a lot more. You also get to use a lot more of the equipment and stuff like that. Or if you're working, let's say, in like an engineering job or something like that, you get to utilize a lot more of those resources as well. Whenever you're working from home, you don't have the opportunity to utilize a whole lot of that stuff. But whenever you're working at the office, all of that stuff that you need to have whenever you're working at a job, it's right there for you. So you're able to utilize that, so that way you can sufficiently work your job at the best rate that you can possibly use. So as long as you're working at the office, the resources, they are going to be right there for you. So that's one pro that comes with this. Another pro with working at the office is that you also have a lot more social time. There are a lot more fellow co-workers that are there working with you during those days. So it gives you an opportunity to just talk to them as well. And most of the time, it will just mostly be about what's happening outside of work. You get to talk to them a little bit about what's happening with your life, or some of the things that have been happening in the world, or even if you are having trouble with work, just talk to them a little bit about how you can become a better employee, or some of the things that you can work on as well. You need that one-on-one time in person, so that way not only you know exactly what you need to do at work, but also if you want to spend some time away with that, just have a friend or two as well. Just talk to them about life and just enjoy each other, laugh a bit or two and just have a little bit of fun. And that's one of the best things, in my opinion, about working at the office, is that all the fellow coworkers you get to work with, they're like family. So if you're there at the office, you get to spend a lot more time with them than you would at home. And so that social time is very, very important, and that's another pro that comes with working at the office. It also does have its cons though, and one of them, as I mentioned before, is the commute to the office. Now, obviously, if you're working, let's say, in the city like I am in Newark, then obviously you would have to spend at least a half hour to maybe even an hour or so having to drive there, or even commute by train to there and back as well. well. And that usually takes a lot of time away from your day as well outside of work. Not only that, if you're driving personally, then you also likely are wasting a lot of gas as well. Unless you're driving an electric car or something like that, you would have to pay for gas like I would do like every 2 weeks now and then. And really, it just takes a lot of time away from being able to enjoy all the things that are happening at home as well, because that's one less hour or even a half hour less to get to do what you want at home, like playing video games or being on social media and just enjoying some of your favorite shows or something like that. It takes a lot of time away from being able to enjoy everything that's outside of work. And just like I mentioned before, 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, immediately on that day, on Monday, unless it's a Saturday or Sunday, you immediately have to get back and do it over and over and over again. And it just becomes a constant strain to be able to have to commute everywhere just so that way you can get to your job. And so obviously that's one thing that's a major strain when it comes to working from the office. That really comes to what I want to talk about next. It's just boredom. And really just, having to spend there, with 8 hours having to constantly look at a screen when you could just be at home and immediately get to do something else. Sometimes it just sucks all the life away from you. You're just really just spending there 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, just really just having to stare at a computer and just really not a whole lot you can do. And if there isn't a whole lot that you can do, then you just have to try to find something else so that way you can be able to do something. And sometimes that becomes a major problem in itself. And so, it's very, very easy to get bored when you're working at the office instead of working at home sometimes. And yeah, those are just some of the pros and cons of working at the both of them. Now, in my personal opinion, I usually like working at the office more than I do working from home. And the reason why I do that is some of the reasons that I just mentioned. I get more resources. Obviously I know that there are some things because usually I work on the computer and stuff like that, but sometimes, I also do more resources with that because like I said before, I have to work on concerts on most weekends. I get to utilize, working all the bags as well, just getting everything ready for the concerts, and also, just helping with, getting everything set for other events as well, and especially with, all the websites or finding some files as well that could be important for your work. So really, just the resources are there, and like I said before, just getting the opportunity to be with other co-workers as well. I feel like that, having that opportunity to have that social time to, not only get help on what you need to do, but also really just help others as well as just being able to just have some time to talk about life and all that stuff. I feel like it's very important that, you have that opportunity to be able to utilize that time so that way you can catch up on everything that's happening. So I feel like, in my opinion, working at the office is a lot better than working from home. But again, with working from home being a lot more popular now as an option than it is working at the office, or even with some employers that are using a hybrid schedule nowadays, it's really hard to decide exactly which one you want to do. Would you rather be at home and potentially have that fear of missing out on some other things, or even work at the office and just, have the opportunity to be able to work with others? Or maybe you would rather have a hybrid schedule, maybe a couple of days that you work at the office for free and then the rest of the time that you're from home. I mean, personally, having a hybrid schedule might be a bigger benefit than having to decide with either of those two. So if you are working a 9-to-5 job or an office job of some time, it's really sometimes a lot better to have a hybrid schedule than having to decide working from home compared to working at the office, because it allows you to be a lot more flexible sometimes with utilizing exactly what you need to use, and also just being able to have more free time outside of work as well. All I know is whichever one you prefer to use, if you're going to be in an office job, whether it's at home or at the office, or if you'd rather have that flexibility and use a hybrid schedule, it's really up to you. I know that office jobs are really a thing of the past now, and a lot of people would rather have those freelance jobs or those opportunistic jobs like in TV or engineering and all of that stuff. But hey, it is still an important job in this world. A lot more people still have a lot of time to use that 9-to-5 job, so that way they can spend more time at home as well on the weekends, and really just worry about getting everything that you need to get done in a good fashionable mode as well. So really, it just depends on which one that you would like to use. Whenever you are applying for a job, be sure to take a look at each one and decide, in your opinion, which will work best for you, because there may be an opportunity for you to be able to learn something during this experience, maybe even in a hybrid schedule. Either way, it's definitely a good opportunity for you to decide which one you would prefer to use if you're using a hybrid schedule. But otherwise, if it tells you to decide which one, then it's really up to you to decide what you think works best for you. In the end, it's still the same job, and you still gotta make sure that you follow the rules and the code of conduct for your job very carefully, because no matter what situation you're in, if you don't, you're likely gonna be out the door. So if you are ever in this position, or if you actually do work an office job, what route would you usually prefer to work at? Would you rather work from home, or would you rather be working at the office, or would you like that hybrid schedule so that way you can manage your time a little more wisely? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll be more than interested in hearing your opinions about it. Otherwise, that's gonna do it for another video. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when my latest video is released. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so every new subscriber helps. As always, be sure to comment below for future suggestions for all my videos, whether it's vlogs, projects, or challenges, you name it. Leave it in the comments below, and I'll do my best to make them. As always, follow me on my social media. All the links are in the description below. That's going to do it for another midweek upload. Hope you're having another great day. And as always, I hope to see all of you again in another video very soon. So long, everybody.